A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the brand new Game of Thrones spin-off. Of course, this is take place for all those people who are like, where did it take place? This is a prequel or a sequel? What's going on? It's actually both. It's a prequel to Game of Thrones, but a sequel to House of Dragon. It's a trino. It's a sandwich. The Game of Thrones and House of Dragon, they're the buns and the filling is the show. They're in the middle of it. I think the gap is like, 70 years before Game of Thrones, but like 100 years after the events of House of Dragon. So if you want to spoil yourself, probably, they're probably going to mention stuff. They're probably going to mention stuff that happens at the end of House of Dragon. So if you want to spoil yourself before even the final season comes out, because I think they said it's only going to be 4 seasons. So if you want that to be spoiled, there's the show for you if you like spoilers. But anyway, I don't know, maybe they don't mention much about what happened and all we know is folktale, folktale, because you see this in this episode. There's this like performance, a stage seduction, and clearly there's this puppet dragon, and you're like, oh, there might be a situation where, tales getting muddled. The truth, the legends being told that this is how things went. But not really. It's getting muddled. It's a game of telephone. It's like things are getting muddled. So, that's a possibility. Now, did I like this episode? As an opener, did I like this episode? I think it's good. I mean, look, this episode reminds... It's all about tone, I think, with this episode. This one's all about wanting us to see this journey, which is our main character, Duck. And he wants to become a knight. Like, he is his parent figure, he is his mentor, his guardian, that clearly, for most of his life, has shackled him. And now that mentor has passed away, he's like, shit, what do I do with myself? You know what? I'll become a knight. And so the idea of seeing someone in this small, it's the old classic story, someone who is one of us, or someone who came out of nowhere becomes something bigger, that's a journey is worth seeing. So seeing this guy who wants to become a knight, who is in a situation where his resources are limited, and we see him on this journey of getting to this goal. And you're like, okay, I can wrap my head around that. That's a decent idea. And also, this whole season, which is only 6 episodes, and apparently 5 to 6 is 2 to 6 are all half an hour episodes. So you're basically getting, if I do my math correctly, basically 3.5 hours. Something that's like 3.5 hours. Which is kind of smart, knowing that this whole story is kind of wrapped around a festival. This whole story is wrapped around a tournament. And, Duck has this idea of entering into this tournament, but now we see the trials that he has to go through to get to that point. And by the end, spoiler alert, by the end of the episode, he doesn't get to that goal yet. It's more like an episode 2 thing. Because all he wants to do is become a knight, and by becoming a knight is get to this tournament, but a lord or a king or a lord, someone with more high authority needs to approve them. And so you got the tick on this. I tick on this journey. Okay, I like that. The other thing is tone. how this is simply very different tonally wise. Because Game of Thrones, in general, let's merge House of Dragon into the mix. Game of Thrones is like epic and stale. It's like dragons and White Walkers and medieval politics and, you know, people dying left, right, and center, and, you know, what weddings and the head of, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I was going to make a Jamie Lannister Cersei joke, but, you know, I was like, well, nah, we all have made those jokes. It's this giant epic thing, and it's in this serious manner. Well, this one's acting quite differently, and I want, like, one of the criticisms I have of it is, like, sometimes, like, it try to be a more lighter tone, maybe a more jokey tone. There's, like, heavily humor moments out through this episode. Like, I don't know, having the you know, Game of Thrones thing getting played, where the guy's like, Buck's like, you know, Duck wants to, is saying, I want to become the knight, and you get and then the next shot he's shitting behind a tree. And I just like, okay. I mean, I was like, first, does anyone really want to see someone shit? And no, don't. No. I mean, you know, I don't want to kink shame anyone, but seriously, does anyone really want to see someone shit behind a tree? No, not really. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world, unless you have that weird kink into, like, brown showers or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, but then and then there's this whole thing of, there's this guy who gives him the information about, you know, a lord and a king, you know, a lord or a king needs to say, hey, you can be in the tournament. It has this thing of, like, every 2 seconds he's like he's spitting into a tub, and I'm like, come on. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's trying to be humor. So it's trying to be lighter in tone, trying to say, hey, this is a more light-hearted, as much as you can, a light-hearted Game of Thrones show. But it just, I don't know, it just didn't really work. I mean, I won't lie, the one line I went, really, dude? If you're trying to do your version of, stop there, Simpson, you said that, versus, like, sir, you know, drop that apple or something. Stop that thief. Like, you have to jump to that? Jesus. And that. The supporting characters, like, we have Egg, who shows up for a couple scenes in this episode. Seems like, you know, you can see this kind of the essence of this, like, this friendship getting formed. You get friendships getting formed with Duck being fair, clearly gonna be at least friends, or at least friendly towards a Targaryen. Is it a Targaryen? Yeah, Targaryen, the king with the horns and all kind of stuff. Yeah, so you see there's a sense of friendship forming there. There's a sense of a little bit of, this person is going to be important later, so we're going to pay attention to them. AKA the girl who's telling the story at the stage reduction of the dragons. So for a first episode, I would say it's good, because it's all about time. It's all about letting us, you know, wanting to get on this journey with Duck, and it kind of did that. Now, it's once again, it's going to be quite interesting to see how they do it, with knowing they're going to be like half an hour episodes. So there's that. But which is, if you stitch it together, it's like a 3.5 hour movie. It's a length of a Martin Scorsese film. So it'll be quite interesting. It'll be quite interesting how they space it all together, and piece it together. But yeah, and by the way, clearly for those people who are like, "Where's my action? I want my dragons." You're like fucking Daenerys saying, "Where are my dragons?" If you're one of those people, one, House of Dragons is like what, August this year, so patience. But two, it's gonna be there. Like, clearly the big giant action sequence is this fight in the tournament. If you watch the full season trailer, like this season on it's leading up to that. So pre-warned. There are some people who are like, I'm just there for the action. I was like, really? Game of Thrones, you're there for the action? Okay. Get your big giant action sequence per season. Get on ya. Anyway, comment below. Let me know your thoughts of this episode.